Here I am on the 15th floor. As we're now in an area that is no longer an active construction site, I've been able to take off my safety gear and change into my suit here. I'm joined by our special guest, Xavier. Xavier, hello.
Hello, Pierre. And I'd also like to say hello to everyone at home.
As I just mentioned, here we are on the 15th floor. There are 22 in all. Also, not far off is the La Défense CBD. Over that way, Origine and Nouvelle Vague, the buildings for Vinci Construction and Energies. And if you all recall, it's where we held last year's New Year event, a time where we could meet face to face. Not through the looking glass, so to speak. It's where we met, physically present, not remotely present as we now are. So Xavier, I have a simple question for you to start off. What is your take on 2020?
Yeah, this year really will go down as one of the toughest that we've ever faced. We've seen a twofold crisis. We've seen the public health aspect and the economic aspect of it. Our working environment changed overnight. We've seen shifts in the way we work, but also in the way we live our personal lives. Not everyone was affected in the same way by this crisis. You may yourselves have been directly affected by the pandemic or your loved ones, and if that is the case, I would like to express my deepest sympathies. In our companies as well, our business has been impacted differently depending on what people do, where they are, and who they work with. I fully realize the issues that some of you have had to overcome throughout this year. But as we move into 2021 and things start to look up from a public health crisis perspective, because we've got those vaccines that are coming in that will finally give us a foothold against this virus, we can use this opportunity to start to take some lessons learned. We are entrepreneurs at heart, and the most important thing is to keep our eyes set on the horizon. This crisis showed us again just how involved and committed we can be. This agile model that we have with our group DNA that's as decentralized as it is, with our management system that promotes the intelligence of our in-the-field teams, have enabled us to be effective and strong within our group, especially in the countries that have experienced the hardest lockdowns. We've worked to guarantee the safety of our workers. We were able to overhaul the way we work in just a few days, and we have been able to guarantee the continuity of our public services as well for our concession infrastructure such as airports and motorways. We've also been able to prepare for getting back to work on our job sites, and on all of these topics, together we have been able to be proactive, committed and creative. We've also shown solidarity in working amongst ourselves and also beyond. We carried out emergency work. We supported hundreds of charities by supporting networks amongst ourselves and outside. And all of these are qualities that are strengths that are all the more important when the situation requires you to adapt and change at times where relationships and standards are changing. We must continue to grow and to reinforce these qualities.
In your view, what lessons can we learn from this current crisis?
Well, Pierre, I think that this crisis serves to remind us of the importance of management and talking with our employees. The time we set aside for this, the effort that we managers put in working with staff, with unions, maintaining that high-quality social dialogue are keys to ride out periods such as the one we've experienced. We get unions and employees involved with the changes that are underway. On top of this, we have been able to use digital technologies to ride out the public health storm. It was kind of a trial by fire for our information systems, first of all, that were all of a sudden being used a lot more and had to deal with an exponential increase in cyber attacks at the same time. As well as that, we've been able to develop our digital relationships, working together differently to continue to breathe life into our working communities and seizing opportunities to ramp up the transformation of the way we work. We are first and foremost companies made up of people, but we have also become digital companies. This is an important asset for us in the future. Of course it is. If you take a step back and look at what we're doing, this crisis reaffirmed our resilience. The model that we've been working on for years now, by broadening our range of activities, markets, balancing our concessions business with our contracting business, this is the model that we've been deploying on an increasing number of countries around the world. As you may know, international revenue is now the largest source of revenue for many of our divisions, and according to our strategic roadmap, that will soon be the case group-wide. And today, this model is showing just how solid it is despite the economic tension that we're experiencing. We're also seeing it generate robust growth during upward swings in the market.
Thank you for such encouraging optimism, Xavier. But this year has been quite a major challenge for us to overcome, hasn't it?
Of course we have. Of course we have. The pandemic and the public authorities' decisions that came from it directly affected our transport concession business, our motorways, and even more so, our airports. On the contracting side of things, the crisis exacerbated tension that we were already seeing in our markets, such as roadworks in France. All of a sudden, we saw a drop in the number of orders from local authorities, and when job sites had to be closed for 2 months or more, we now have to adapt to how the real estate market is reshaping itself. However, worldwide, Vinci has shown great resilience, and Eurovia and Vinci Construction worldwide have also been able to maintain their business at satisfactory levels. In the chaos that was 2020, our diversified model showed just how robust it was. And the balance between our two business lines proved once again its relevance. Contracting and energy specifically, but contracting as a whole, showed themselves to be our stability anchor during this tumultuous time, and as you know, it's core to concession business. Taking a step back and looking at the differences between periods, we once again see the relevance of our development strategy, which has always been a balanced one across our two main business lines. Heavily investing, as we have been doing over the last decade in airports, has not stopped us to continue external growth for other business lines within Vinci and to continue to develop our international networks with Vinci Construction and Eurovia. This development strategy will be continued because we have the means to achieve our ends. Our financial situation, and this is a reason for our resilience as well, our financial situation is very solid. Thanks to conservative management of cash, which is simply how we do things, and thanks to the efforts deployed by our subsidiaries to get back owed money, manage their cash, manage their debt levels as well. We've been able to drive down debt over the last year, but we've also been able to reduce the cost of debt. Thanks to all of these factors, we can and will continue to follow our own path. That means is that we're going to continue to seize development opportunities as they arise and as they match our strategic goals, especially the significant ones. This is true for a transaction that we've been studying for a number of months. This is industrial services with ACS. This is a transaction which isn't yet closed, but it would be a next large step in developing our energy branch, developing a company that has a complementary skill set to Vinci Energy, especially for big energy infrastructure projects and also renewables, more specifically in a concession-based form. It is still too early to know whether we will be able to see through this acquisition. If we do go through with it, it will be at the right price, and if that is not possible, we will simply look at other acquisitions. Our overall aim is to grow in energy and renewable energy especially.
While we're talking about the future, what is your take on it? Is it one of openness or one of caution?
Correct outlook is not to simply sit on our heels or to shrink down. We need to take initiatives. We need to move, not just in our development strategy, but also in our daily lives, in the way we work, in all of our companies, and in the way we manage people as managers. In fact, it is during these difficult times that we need to be the most agile, the smartest. Our managerial instinct must lead us to do anything that we can do to make people's jobs easier. Things that may have not seemed urgent when markets were good may all of a sudden be more relevant now. So let's ask ourselves, are we agile enough? Are we decentralized enough? Are there not parts of our organization that could be reworked so that all of our people are working for our teams and for our clients? Do we have job descriptions at corporate HQ that could be made more efficient by being decentralized? Are we all playing by the same rules? Have we managed to remove layers of management? Have we been able to remove pain points and friction points so that our people aren't fighting already in a difficult commercial environment and fighting against the company they work for? These questions are healthy to ask ourselves all the time, and even more so right now as competition is heating up and threatens our competitiveness. These questions are the questions that you need to ask yourselves and answer for yourselves. It's your freedom to do so, but it's also your responsibility as managers. I know that I can count on you to do the right thing, to act in a way that will help save our performance given the short-term uncertainty that we're faced with, but beyond that, that will enable us to be in good footing for the rest of what's coming. Let us continue to work along our roadmap. Let's keep our eyes and ears open, but let's remain demanding on the long-term targets that will require stability.
Can you give us some examples? What is there beyond merely growing business and working on what we already are?
Safety first. Once again, we have seen an unacceptable number of deadly or near deadly accidents on our projects. I know that you have already dedicated significant time and energy to this, but we need to continue to do more. We will not reach our goals if we do not get even more involved to reduce the number of accidents. The next thing is the dynamic that we've set in motion with our environmental policies. 2020 was a year for getting to grips with our commitments to reduce our own carbon emissions, and also a year where everyone got on board with, for example, the Environmental Award, so that our goals and targets become part and parcel of the daily lives of our 220,000 employees. In fact, I would like to invite you to go to environment.vinci.com. On that website, you'll find more than 200 initiatives that have been published by our people, our staff members, there are all sorts of things. You'll see things related to our three main targets: reducing carbon emissions of our business, first of all, so our sites, our job sites, our equipment, and also for our clients. Secondly, optimizing how we use natural resources, especially using what's known as the circular economy. And thirdly, safeguarding the environment. The Environmental Award is a great opportunity to together upskill. Thanks to our 400 relay points, moderators and correspondents, we now have a network of people, Vinci people, who are on board and involved in helping people, in supporting managers, and in helping us identify regional specificities and where we can do better. I invite you to personally get involved as an individual and a manager to make the most of the opportunities that we have with this award. So people getting involved, implementing good practices, working with our clients and partners, and developing new offerings. And also, throughout the company, we are seeing people realize that we can do more than we even thought to support our clients in reducing their own carbon emissions. Together, we are taking up this torch. We want to become leaders in environmental change for the way people live and travel. We see this as our responsibility. We know that our people expect this from us. We know that our clients and civil society expect this of us, and we believe this is the future of our companies and our business. On that topic, it is worthy of note that a few weeks ago, we did our first green bond issue. And the cherry on that cake is that it was at a slightly negative rate. That's amazing, and that shows that our environmental investments are investments in the future that are recognized as such by markets that trust us. And finally, CSR. Today, people's relationships are being stressed, and we must be ever more committed to help them. The Give Me 5 youth insertion program, for example, and on that topic, you know that young people are paying sometimes the most for this crisis. Well, we owe it to ourselves to offer them jobs, to extend a hand, to offer them part-time contracts, internships, apprenticeships. We must help them. We also have citizen initiatives that we launched in a number of countries since the beginning of the health crisis. All of these numerous initiatives in each of our countries go to show that we are a caring company and that we can get on board to make society more inclusive with more solidarity. These initiatives must be ramped up in intensity and number because we need to care for the planet, and we know that an environmental transition can only happen if we are not careful about people and society as well.
Xavier, before you go, any final message for 2021?
Dear colleagues, the coming year can only be better than the one that's behind us. And we're moving forward without any regret at all. Hope seems to be becoming reality in the beginning of 2021 with the vaccines on the health side, but also with the stimulus packages. This should give some breathing room to us in our personal and professional lives. We have shown ourselves able to overcome the harshest of crises, and we can use that energy, that determination, as we move back into positive growth for our companies and for Vinci. The future is not set in stone, but We can always be hopeful about the future when you have that desire, the will to fully commit to that future. So that is a message of confidence I have for you today. I would like to wish you health, happiness, and personal development for you and your loved ones throughout 2021. Thank you.
Xavier, thank you for your time. See you soon.